You may remember atheist Richard Dawkins. He's on a crusade to convince believers they're idiots. Well, who am I to turn down a joust? I debated religion with him and then continued the discussion with Dr. Deepak Chopra. Now, you wrote this book, and this book, you know, is marketed somewhat toward children, adolescents, correct?
It is.
Yeah, and you want them to not only believe in science, which I think is a good thing, but reject God and religion.
No, this is a book about science. It doesn't talk about God.
It mocks God. I looked at it.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
which bit have you looked at?
I mean, I went through that book, and you basically are saying that everything can be explained by science, correct?
Well, everything about the natural world can be explained by science, but where does it mock God?
It basically says that these things are myths. They're not really true.
Every chapter has myths at the beginning of the chapter.
Aha!
Some of them are Aztec myths, they're ancient Egyptian myths, Greek myths, Judeo-Christian myths.
Play these semantic games with me. You know what you're doing. You're trying to get to the kids and say, hey, you're an idiot if you believe in God.
It's nothing to do with God. I'm talking about myths from all over the world. The Judeo-Christian myth is thrown in occasionally as one of many myths that come from around the world.
But the Judeo-Christian philosophy isn't a myth. It's reality. This country was based on it.
Well, that's not true.
Yes, it is. Throughout history, some of the worst regimes ever have been atheistic. You know that. Communists under Stalin, Mao Zedong.
Nothing to do with atheism.
No, really? No. See, my hypothesis is that religion is a constraint on society. Goodwill toward men, treating everybody as Jesus taught, the same as you, how you would like to be treated, the Ten Commandments, they're constraints against bad behavior.
Which of the Ten Commandments do you value?
All of them.
Thou shalt not make a graven image. Thou shalt not violate the Sabbath.
Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not bear
thou shalt
false
not kill
witness.
is a widespread belief all over the world. It's
not by Pol
Ten
Pot or Mao Zedong or Joseph Stalin. They all had one thing in common. They didn't believe in God.
But in any case, it's nothing to do with whether you believe in God or not.
You don't see it's a constraint? You don't see religion as being a constraint on human behavior? The bad
Not
part?
really.
No, really?
I mean, I think there's been evil. I don't want to get into a shouting match about who's more evil than who.
Are we shouting?
What I do think is that there is a logical connection between believing in God and sometimes doing evil things.
So what do you say to a guy like Dawkins? I mean, Dawkins, I had him on twice, and you've never talked to him face to face,
Oh,
right?
yes. He ambushed me when I was in Oxford. He used a subterfuge. Channel 4 called me, said we want to do an interview. I went to the interview.
And it was him?
It was him.
Yeah, but you kick his butt. I kick his butt both
I
times
did.
when
For
he came
3
in.
hours I kicked his butt, but
Right.
then he took 3 minutes out of that, put it in a movie called Enemies of Reason, and he ambushed some very other
Okay. I don't have much regard for
scientists.
Dawkins. I think he's a dishonest guy. But
He, by the way, uses his scientific credentials to camouflage his bigotry, his
I don't know if
prejudice,
it's bigotry. He really believes that we're idiots, Doctor. I mean, he does. He thinks he's a genius. He thinks you and me and the rest of the believers are idiots.
Well,
now, he basically says that the United States isn't founded on Judeo-Christian philosophy. That's just absurd.
Yes,
I mean, our justice system is based on the Ten Commandments. In fact, what hangs in the Supreme Court?
Yes.
The Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
They haven't gotten rid of them yet. They're there.
Well,
and they're
your
there for a
book,
reason.
Lincoln, you mentioned, was a believer.
Absolutely. Abraham Lincoln read the Bible every day. But you're never going to get through to a guy like Dawkins because there's more emotion with them. Don't you find that?
Which
that
is very unscientific, by the way.
Yeah, they get really upset.
To attack somebody you don't believe in with such vigor and enthusiasm and emotion and anger.
Yeah, I'm not angry that Dawkins doesn't believe. I mean, I don't care what he says, but he gets really teed off. Now, what has convinced you that there is a deity? And do you believe in an active God, a God that actually intervenes in human life?
Well, you know, I also have scientific background, and the more we understand the nature of the universe through science, the more we also understand there's more unknown and there's the unknowable. And the unknowable because the scientific discoveries show that the laws of physics themselves preclude us from intellectually getting in touch with the source. You have to go beyond the intellect. You have to listen to the heart. The heart has reasons that reason doesn't know. And you have to, in a sense, understand the great prophets, Jesus, whoever, they transcended to a level where they were in touch with the mystery. Of course, they used the language of the time. I and the Father are one, I'm in
but
you,
that's,
you're in
again,
me.
that's a matter of faith, though. But do you believe that there is an active deity that intervenes in human nature and intervenes in the world?
I think there is an active source, an intelligent source that is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient,
So
all
he
the
does.
laws
It does
of nature,
intervene.
and that we have a connection to that.
Do you believe in miracles?
But we have free will too. Well, the fact that we live, that we exist, is a miracle. Why do we have to even go beyond that?
Well, because the meteorite hit the world, and that's what happened. And the meteorite did this, and then evolution, and you know. But look, the fact comes down to
evolution doesn't contradict the fact.
That's what I say. Intelligent design does not contradict science, and science has never been able to manufacture one single human cell, have they?
No, not even.
After all of this
the
advancement,
most primitive form of intelligence has not been created, and whatever has been created comes from intelligence that is connected to the source.
Up next.